Why you gotta do it, Jesus? I thought we were friends. Why you gotta go around giving people the stigmata?
There's a lot of shit shows and movies on Netflix. Don't know what to watch, but don't you stress it. Rachel watches garbage so you don't have to. Find all the gems with Rachel Reviews.
This week on Rachel Reviews, we're going to be talking about Stigmata, made in 1999 and starring Patricia Arquette, whose very first film was actually Nightmare on Elm Street. Horror fact, horror dynasty. And she becomes victim of stigmata, which is where you suffer the signs that Christ had on like the crucifixion, like holesies in the handsies, thornsy, crownsy, holesy in the feetsies, etc. But she's an atheist, and that's reserved for deeply religious people. She can't be having stigmata. She ain't involved in God enough. So this priest dude, who's also a scientist, he's a science priest, comes down to help her out and solve the problem. What the fuck is going on? You can't have stigmata. You're not involved in the church. And eventually, he's trying to save her life because, you know, she's created new orifices and she's just pissing blood everywhere.
Nerd fact.
Lightning blast.
Power shield. Sword of Aragon.
In this movie, our leading lady is called Frankie. And that's actually named after Francis of Assisi, who was the very first person in history to receive the signs of the stigmata.
Nerd fact.
The director of this movie uses light a massive amount. He gives the feeling of being in a church constantly, whether she's actually in a church or whether she's at her apartment or a place of work. He does that through lighting. Lighting is a really predominant thing throughout this film. We always have the feeling of being in a church. He uses a lot of candles, low-level lighting, as well as natural lighting coming through from windows, as you would have in a religious building. It's an amazing effect, and it really creates that atmosphere of a religious experience, not only for our characters, but for us as a viewer as well. So in this film, our leading lady Frankie gets a gift from her mum, and it's a rosary. And that is apparently the cause of her stigmata. But remember, she's an atheist. My house is full of rosaries. In the early 2000s, everyone wore rosaries. None of those people had stigmata. So I'm going to see how easy or hard it is to get stigmata. Let's test that out. I need the body of Christ. That's not enough Jesus for this stigmata. I need more Jesus. That's enough. See my hand? It ain't got stigmata right now. This is a kind of in-the-middle film. It's not a horror, it's not a love story, it's not a comedy. It's a little bit of everything. There's some great jokes, and there's also some great jump scares, and there's also a lot of suspense, but there's also a really amazing storyline which develops, and there's great plot arcs, and there's great character development. We're attached to these characters, making for a very interesting film. Why would you not watch this film? This is a very script-heavy film. There's a lot for you to take in and a lot for you to understand. If you're not up to date with Catholic news and fucking, you know, stigmata information, you're gonna have to listen and pay attention. If you're feeling something a little bit lighthearted, this ain't for you. Go watch a Bill Murray film. Maybe steer clear of this one.
Dirk Kerner.
I don't understand this film. What's going on? Who's Jesus? I thought a religious experience is when you got extra dip with your McNuggets. But I didn't see any McNuggets in this film at all. People didn't seem to care about McNuggets. I don't understand. Anyway, I'm gonna go and eat KFC. See you next week, bitches.
Dirk Kerner.
I give this film 4 out of 5 Tic Tacs. That means you can have 5 Tic Tacs, but I'm giving it 4. You got 1 left over. That's a pretty high rating. That's like quite high for Rachel Reviews so far. It's a fun film. It's It's the 90s. There's cool blow-up furniture and people wearing bright colours. Check it out. You're going to enjoy it. It's got Patricia Arquette. It's got Jesus. It's got priests. It's got doves flying around. Enjoy the film. You can watch it with anyone. Feel the religion. 4 out of 5 Tic Tacs, bro. Steve, you're here. Of course Steve's here, because we're in love, and he's my husband. We're married, look. So we're just here to say as Halloween's coming up, if you got anything that you want me to check out, of course, leave me a comment below. I'll watch some horror films for you. I have nothing else to do in my life but make out with Steve. And don't forget to give us a like. Oh, that's number 1. And we're gonna give it a subscribe. Because if you don't, Steve's gonna eat your family. See you next week. We put out videos on Sunday.
Like and subscribe.
Who's Jesus? I don't know what's going on in this film. Where were the McNuggets?